You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
3, 2, 1.
We are gathered here as advisors, as scientists.
The kind of place we expect a ghost to like to wander around.
Hey, we all know how we're gonna die, baby.
I'll help you. I'm something of a witch.
Welcome to Mission Spooky. I'm your wonderful host, JC. With me today is your mediocre? No, pretty okay, Kiki.
We need to use the Ouija board so we can see into the future, so you can tell me what your future self is gonna like for next week.
Nah, I'm doing a bit of traveling and prepping for traveling, so I don't really
Oh, that's right. You're gonna be going to
Florida, the land of the sun, the penis of America. Flaccid, just like all the people that live there.
Damn.
By the way, except for
So half
anyone
my family
that
lives
listens-
there.
What?
Half my family lives there.
Well,
I think my brother would have something to say about that.
I'm just saying.
So where are you going in Florida?
I don't know.
You don't know. You like literally don't know where you're
No,
going?
I have the GPS address, and I'm driving there, but I haven't looked at it.
Okay, what
in a few
part of
days.
Florida is it?
The land part?
Well, thank God for that, because I'd hate to think that you were driving directly into the Atlantic Ocean.
To be fair, I wouldn't put it past me.
Or the Gulf of Mexico, depending on,
I prefer Gulf of Mexico, because the water there is nicer, and they have cool squids. You know what? I like squid. Like, as a species of creature, I think they're cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. Yeah, squid and octopus for me both. Like, they're both awesome. They got a vampire squid.
Yeah.
Which is like the shit, because the goth in me is like, fuck yeah, vampire squid.
Yeah.
I like how they taste.
Yeah, they're okay.
Yeah, big fan of calamari. Don't eat octopus, though, because octopus are, like, smarter, and then I feel worse about eating them.
Yes.
Because they're super smart.
Yes.
They're, like, on par with dolphins, which I also don't eat. Ew, gross.
Purposely.
You know, like, purposefully.
Okay, you can have your joke privileges.
Anyway, we do have a special guest.
Oh yeah, we have a special guest with us today in our wonderful studio. Her name is Allie, and she's going to be telling us some spooky tales. She hates me.
I'm sitting here nodding or shaking my head at him.
Well, Allie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Not really the spooky stuff yet. We'll save that for a bit. Just, who are you? What do you do? Stuff like that.
So yeah, I'm Allie. I'm JC's roommate. I was forced to come here. They locked me in their quote-unquote studio, which is a basement.
You drove here willingly.
Uh-huh. Sure I did. Sure.
I gave you an address and you showed up. We've been talking about this for a few weeks. We planned this a while ago.
That's what you want the audience to think. Right. Anyway, So day job, art therapist, night job, pure romance. Gotta pay those bills.
All right, we're going to take a short break for our sponsor, and when we come back, our special guest, Allie, is going to tell us her experiences with the paranormal. Welcome back, spooksters. Allie, who so graciously joined us to tell her personal experiences with the paranormal, is the first of what we hope to be many interviews with everyday folks. Many of us, 1 in 5 people to be exact, claim to have had some kind of paranormal experience. Our goal with these interviews is to make those of you out there, the just about 1 billion of you, not feel so alone. And now, on to the spooky stuff.
So I grew up Moravian, and I went to Mountain View Moravian Church, and it's definitely haunted. I think it's a nice ghost. It's never done anything
Where's this church at?
bad. Hellertown, Pennsylvania. So we've had people go in, and all the candles were lit in the chapel, but nobody was there. And then when they come in on Sunday, all the candles are rebuilt again, like they were never lit. And then we've also had where I used to help my mom with Sunday school, and when we were working on it, we heard the choir, and I got bored, and I figured I'd go and check out the choir. And then when I opened the chapel doors, nobody was in there. and all of a sudden they stopped. You didn't hear the noise anymore. So I went back to my mom, and she was like, why aren't you in there? And I was like, because nobody's there. And then she went to check, and nobody was there, but she heard it too. There was also one time I sent my girlfriend.
How old were you when
that happened?
Yeah, when that happened with the child.
I was still in Sunday school, so I'm going to say 9, but I don't actually remember.
But young. Pretty young.
Close.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like
But not
about
young
just
enough
curious.
where you're like an idiot. So that's a good age to have.
Wow,
paranormal
what
experiences.
is there a cutoff for like?
Yeah, 6.
Okay, so you're an idiot until you're 6. Okay, just make
Sometimes.
it-
Some people are idiots.
This is
after.
another one of these JC-isms, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
Okay. They had a piano over there. My girlfriend and I in high school had piano class, and she wanted to practice, so I gave her the keys and sent her over there and didn't tell her anything about the church. She came back maybe a half hour later and asked me what's wrong with this place. And I was like, well, we've had some things happen. I just didn't think to mention them. And she said while she was playing one of the heavy doors that, like, you had to take the handle and really turn it and move it. Like, it was, I don't know if it's called a storm door, but it's one of those, like, heavy metal ones. Slightly opened as if somebody was watching her. And then when she looked over, it slammed shut. Which, again, it doesn't really slam because it's one that, like, slowly closes. We also had one time where we were putting together a haunted house as the youth group, and the phone downstairs rang, but it wasn't hooked up to anything, so we're not sure how it rang.
Ooh, that's a good one. I recently heard another spooky hospital story that was like that. Like, there's a phone that used to be like an emergency phone, so they never really use it anymore. And yeah, this phone just would start ringing. Now, do you pick the phone up when it rings?
I do.
We did.
And
There was nobody on the other end.
Yeah.
Like it would, like, in scary movies, it's like, no, none of that. It was just silent.
that was actually, I think, what it was too, was that they picked it up and they didn't really hear anything either, but you're still like, do you go for it? Do you do it? I don't know. I feel like I might do it too. Like, my curiosity would be too much. Like, I'd want to know.
Yeah, but then for me personally, I think I hit like maybe 10, 11, and I remember thinking like, I want an imaginary friend. And so I just started talking to myself a lot just for funsies, and I like gave it a name and everything. And then my parents were like, you're too old to have an imaginary friend. And I was like, I do what I want. But then,
Very alley of you.
yes. But then things started kind of happening. And I remember telling my parents, like, I don't know, I feel like there's somebody in here. I feel like things are moving. And of course, like, especially my dad was like, absolutely not. You're just being silly. And then one time I went to go sleep over at my girlfriend's house, but it wasn't planned. So, like, I didn't really pack up before I left. I just didn't come back. And my curtains in my old bedroom at my parents' house would clink because it was all metal. So my dad knew when I was closing the curtains and going to bed. And so he said he was getting ready for bed, and it sounded like they got slammed, like as much as you could slam them. It was just like tick, 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 tick. And he was like, oh, Allie's just going to bed really late. And then remembered that I wasn't home. And then looked in my room, and they were closed. And he called me and was
freaky.
like, did you tell your friend that you were having a sleepover? And I was like, no. And he's like, maybe next time do that.
Oh my God. Wow. That's awesome. I mean, in a paranormal kind of way, but also not if you're like, what the hell?
There was a lot of me that, like, I think as I got older, it got scarier. I'm not sure why. And it's not that she ever did anything wrong, and I don't know why I think it's a girl. It felt like a little girl because it was just kind of playful stuff. And the fact that, like, my quote unquote imaginary friend was female, and she kind of just seemed to, like, fill the role. But it was happening at the church and at my house, and they're not far away from each other at all. So I think this spirit in the church was kind of like, oh, I can fill this role, and just kind of followed me home one day. But it got to a point where I was like, look, if you're here, I think we need to stop this, and just kind of like said my piece. And then I didn't have any more problems in my house. So that's, again, why I'm like, I don't think it's a negative spirit. But we have had other things happen, like since the curtain thing, my dad has been a little more open to stuff, and he'll walk, like my dog and my cat, they both like to go on walks together. Aww. Around the church. And one time he went by like the office window, which is even the newer part of the building, and the dog jumped up toward the window like she saw something, And she's on the older side. I mean, this was a couple years ago, but like she didn't have the best sight. But the fact that she even looked in, and then my dad was like, "What?" and looked toward the window. And when the cat walked by, he heard like a giggle. I was like, "Oh, that's weird." And even when he would come by, there was this one light in the front where if he would go like, "Hey, how are you doing?" it would flicker. All of our neighbors were old steel workers, so they've all been kind of moving on.
Yeah.
And our one new neighbor, their house faces the church, and one day he came over and was like, "Is there something wrong with that place?" And like we had never even really spoken to him besides like, "Hey, welcome to the neighborhood." And like even these people that haven't known the history are like, "Yeah, there's something up."
And that always kind of like solidifies it in your own mind too, when you don't have to say anything and somebody else just walks in that room and or house or wherever it is, or even just is outside and they're like, "Something's up. Do you know something about that place?" Because that happened to me too. You know, you just walk into a house and I was like, why do I feel like there's a dude staring at me from the window in this house? And then I got the whole story and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why didn't tell him to go get the fuck out, okay? Because I don't want him here.
Having your stories reconfirmed, or, especially from outside sources that are like, how would you know this? It really makes you feel like, well, at least I know I'm not crazy. Or I'm at least not the only one going crazy.
Yeah, at least like when the phone thing happened, like there was a number of us. There was at least 5 of us in the room and we were all like, "Y'all heard that, right?" Like, that definitely happened. And they watched me pick up the phone, like... And some of those other ones, like my girlfriend playing the piano, wasn't me. And then the candles thing wasn't me. So... Right.
It's like, nice. Oh, so I need to do research on this place. You know?
It's a church.
I know, but still. You never know.
It's not that old, though. Or at least not most of the building. I don't know. I think when I think of haunted places, I always think they're older.
Ooh, not always.
Yeah, no. My grandparents' house was built by my grandfather after World War II, and it turned out that the grounds were haunted, and then it entered the house, which was brand new.
Okay.
So, yeah, it can be a weird situation where the ground itself maybe has something going on, or someone died there, or even it could have been last episode we were just talking about the yellow fever in Philadelphia in the 1700s. So, you know, maybe a little girl died and she used to play out when it was just a field, and then they built the church kind of thing. So that's why I say it might be interesting to look at the history of that area and just see if there's any, you know, for the heck of it. Why not? That's what I do.
Cursed objects could be getting brought in.
Okay.
There's a lot of ways to get hauntings. Or not all hauntings have to deal with, "Oh, well, somebody died here, so the place is obviously haunted." There's so many ways to get a place haunted. It's not even, like, it's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, and then JC could have just done some stupid-ass ritual and, you know, conjured up.
Rituals.
I know, that's why I'm
I don't believe
saying
in
it.
magic.
It's a joke.
That's the whole point! You believe in your little hocus pocus. And I'm here to be like, no, that's bullshit.
You just wait until I conjure up Gob, and then it's going to be great. He's going to come visit you in your house, and yeah, you punched a poor little gnome right in the face.
Goblin.
Hope you feel good about yourself.
I do.
Did you ever talk about shit in our apartment?
The only thing I've really mentioned was the growl in the basement that I heard.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Which may or may not have been the furnace.
Which then I offered to do. I said, "Oh, do you live in a house is it an apartment, or is it like an older home?
It's an older
converted
home converted into apartment."
Right, and you said that, and I was like, "Oh, let me do some research on it for you," and then you were like, "No."
Oh, I want to know.
See,
you can tell
Send
me.
it to her. Do not send it to me. I
He
do
was
not want
like-
to know that information. But yeah, you can definitely give your apartment stories, because they're pretty good, more than what I've had.
But yeah, because I've lived there longer too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and ghosts know not to fuck with me.
I remember when it was Nicole and I, which was my last roommate.
Yes.
I upgraded to JC, surprisingly.
The bar was set very low.
Anyway, so when we first got there, I don't remember everything that happened, but neither of us liked being in the apartment by ourselves, and like everything in there is new. It's like white and like pretty well lit and just, yeah, no, we didn't like it. Especially when you walk into our apartment, there's this one like corner of the house that nobody likes. Like we've had people that just come in for the first time and they're like, I don't like the hallway. Not at all. And like you've kind of deduced that it's probably because it's the darkest part in the house and it's also right next to the attic door.
And there's a lot of psychological effects that go into why that part of the house makes people uncomfortable. But yeah, it's still a spooky spot.
Yeah, it's a weird spot. It's right next to your bedroom door.
Yep. It goes right around my room. So
yeah, I get to stay far away from that.
I mean, it's on the other side of the wall from your room.
Yeah, so I don't have to deal.
Yeah.
But anyway, when Nicole and I first moved in, like we noticed that, and then we had this bottle of tequila, and it just like slowly kept getting less. And I was like, you're drinking it. And she's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, it's leaking. It's something. And then like the moment we kind of like said like, oh, it's leaking or something, it stopped. But also the birds were so weird. Like they were like squawking and like coming together in the huge pine tree late at night. Like you don't hear birds in the dark, but we heard birds all the time. And I was trying to explain this to Nicole one day and she told me I was nuts. And then literally the next day she came back and she went up our crazy tall metal stairs and a bird flew underneath and slammed itself into the house and knocked itself out. And she was like, never mind, I believe you, the birds are whacked. I was like, okay. So then the other things that have happened is like, I always felt like something was kind of staring at me from by my door / mirror. Like, it just feels like there's a man just like staring, but I'm like, yeah, just don't give in to it. Nothing happens. You know, I'll just turn to the other way in my bed. Forget that. And then sometimes it wouldn't be there. Sometimes it would feel like it was there. And again, I just ignored it. And I think I only said something to JC, but otherwise nothing. And then I got a text from the lower neighbor before, I think a month or two before they moved. And they were like, hey, if it smells funny, we're burning sage down here. And I was like, why? What's happening? And they were like, it feels like there's a man like in our doorway just staring at us. And it was the same exact spot, but in their apartment. But since they had a little kid, the little kid was like, Mommy, there's a weird man in here, and like giving attention to it. And I think it definitely bothered them more, where I was like, you don't exist, la 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 la.
Which is funny because, again, hearing ghost stories, it's like that there's two ways to deal with it. Either people like are like, I'm out, I can't deal with it. Or you literally just turn around and go to sleep because you're like, fuck it, I'm tired. I'm not dealing with this shit, but I'm going to stay here because I'm tired and I'm not moving. You leave, I'm ignoring you. So, Too funny. Yeah, that you're the person who's like, I'm tired. I don't care.
Pretend you don't exist. I'm not going to give attention to this, and eventually you'll go away. But even they said it's not like he ever did anything. It's almost like he's curious and he's just like watching. But it's still creepy. And then even when Nicole moved out, our other friend came in to help her move, and I went outside for something, and I guess Nicole was in a different room, and she thought I walked by the room. But I didn't. I was outside. She was like, Allie, is that you? No. And then later she came up to me and was like, yeah, so there's definitely a man that like walks your hallway. Like the other people, I'd never told her anything about it. And she was the one that's like, yeah, he walks that hallway. That's why that's creepy. It's definitely a man, blah, blah, blah. I haven't felt him around for a long time. Ever since the sage thing.
Yeah, I'd agree. Because when I first moved there as well, like, if you were on a trip or whatnot and you weren't at the house, a light that's like right outside my door, that if I was home alone, I'd have to have that light on. My door closed, there's now light, so it can't be right outside my door. Like, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, because it like walks right past there.
Yeah. I think the worst thing I had happen was I was home alone. I was sitting on my computer playing games, you know, minding my own business, listening to music. I had a lot of different audio visuals going on at the same time. And I all of a sudden heard water turn on in, I believe it was the kitchen, for less than 15 seconds, but close to, like, it was a decent amount of time. And then it turned off, and then it was 3 footsteps. And they were loud footsteps. I sat for maybe 45 seconds just being like, what the fuck? Like, I was scared. And then I grabbed a knife and...
stabbed the ghost to death?
Honestly, I had thought somebody was in the house. Like, those footsteps sounded like somebody with heavy boots was walking in the house. And I was waiting for someone to, like, cross the vision of the door. Because that's what it really felt like. And then I was so sure of that, I grabbed a knife and I started walking around the house. And it's not a large apartment, but yeah, there was nothing there. The sink was wet. I remember telling you that. Yeah,
because I was like, you're nuts. And then you were like, but the basin was wet and I hadn't used it in like hours.
Yeah. And so that like confirmed that I heard water, and it wasn't just like pipes releasing for the toilet or whatever. And then the 3 loud footsteps, they were loud. And the presence of the apartment changed when it happened too.
So one night, because our heat likes to either not kick on or be a sauna. So one night it kicked on and it was a sauna. And like, I wasn't awake enough to be like, oh, I'm hot. But I remember like rolling over and being like, damn, it's so damn hot in here. Somebody help me. And then I woke up in the morning, like, the sun was out and whatever, so it had been hours later. And I was like, wow, what a nice breeze. You know, this really helps because I was so hot. Why am I feeling a breeze from my bed? And then I realized that the window was open. So I have a curtain and then I have the blinds. And the curtain is like shoved between the bed and the wall. So like I would have to get up, pull it over and like dig the curtain out from between there and open the blinds and then unlock the window and pull it open because I always have it locked because otherwise like it might not stay closed all the way. We have that one in the living room that doesn't quite close unless you lock it.
Yep.
But yeah, it was just wide open and like nothing was moved. And I even like tried to bounce it because there's those windows that kind of like push open.
Yeah.
Ours don't do that.
Nope.
You really have to, use
push.
force.
You really have to push. They're newer, but they're good windows, so they're not easy to open. Yeah, that was a good story.
That was a weird one. I mean, at least the ghost helped me out because I was hot. Again, I haven't really had the negative experiences, which is good.
I was gonna say, he just seemed like he listened to you and then was like, hey, cool, I'm gonna help you.
Ooh, I forgot one more. I don't remember this one because Nicole was there for it. So I guess I was asleep in my room, lights were off, door was closed, and Nicole was awake for some reason, and she went past my room, and it sounded like I was having a full-on conversation with a man. I don't remember this at all. She said it was really late, and I asked, did you open the door? Did you come in at all? She's like, nope, I wasn't gonna do that. It was too scary. I had no idea if somebody was here. And she asked me, was somebody over? And I said no. And I don't remember the conversation, but she said she heard my voice talking to a man.
Did she hear the man's voice?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
So, I think one of the themes in this particular instance is you've had paranormal stuff happen to you when you were young, right? Like your first time talking or seeing anything. You were about, what, 8?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was 3. And you were 8-ish, 9-ish.
I've had weird stuff happen that I don't know if it was paranormal, but yeah, at a young age.
That was the whole, like, I'm gauging at 3 thinking it was a memory that I thought was a false memory of laying in bed and looking up and seeing this man, like, always watching me. And then talking to my mom and being like, when I was really little, did you have a crib in my mom's bedroom so when you came to visit and I would take a nap in there? She's like, yeah. Because I said, because, you know, even when you're 3 or going on 4, you start having little flashbacks of, like, things that you barely remember, but they're usually, I don't know, like happiness or, you know, like playing with something in particular. Right. Like, I found out that I was about 3 when my mother would take me outside and go under this tree at our old apartment and read to me. So this was, oh, okay, wow, I remember that. Like, I have a very strong, vivid memory of that particular thing happening. Same thing with this dude always looking in on me. And it took like 30 years to find out that that was my great-grandfather, because I didn't know. I thought it was my grandfather until I saw a picture of my great-grandfather, who the only photograph I'd had of him was when he was really young. He was about 20, and he had like his Masonic stuff on from when he was living in England. And then when he moved here, he was much older. So my cousin sent me this photograph of my great-grandmother, who I knew very well and I was very close with. She died when she was like 99, so she knew us grandchildren. I saw this picture of them, and it's in Bradford, England, and it's like after they're married. But it was him, like totally different features than my grandfather, but still looked a lot like him. And I'm thinking, oh my God, like, wow, that's who like kind of watched over me when I was a baby. That's freaking cool. Like, you know, I don't know. But then I've always been sensitive ever since then, so. I feel like if you're going to have it, you're going to have it. You're going to be able to walk into a place and you're going to be able to feel something or know something is there, or you don't really have it, which is okay. That's, you know, we're all different.
The sensitivity thing makes sense too, because like I've come home and said to you, like, I see shadow people every once in a while, and I'll like literally see like hands in pockets or like know what they're wearing. And I've only seen in color like maybe 2-3 times, but one time I didn't know it was a ghost, and it was like this old foot doctor that I was taking my old participants to at my last job, and they were walking down the handicap railing, and there was this old man, and I just remember he was wearing like a newsboy hat, and even like it was kind of gray and yellow, and it had like the threads, and he was wearing like a nice jacket, and he was coming up towards one of my guys, and I was like, hey, so-and-so, move. And right when I went to tell him to move over, because it looked like he was just going to flat out collide with this guy, when they passed, the old man was gone. And I just sat there, and as I was like, hey, so, never mind. I don't know. Okay. And then I got in the van.
Moving on.
And you have to realize I work with people with schizophrenia who see people and hear things, so I'm like, is it ghosts, or am I actually nuts, and that's why I'm decent at my job?
I mean, it could be both, Allie.
Yeah.
Because you are psycho.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
I do. I do.
That's
the talking to herself that she mentioned earlier hasn't stopped, guys. Has not stopped. She still does it. No, it's very loud. All the time.
Sometimes about him.
Yeah,
I'm like,
to herself.
I'm like, this dude, what the heck? Why did he can't take out the garbage? You know how long these dishes have been here? Oh my God. And then I realized he's still here and he just forgot to put his car keys away.
Just cut this part.
Oh no. This is juicy tidbits of JC that I don't know about. This stays in.
Later I have to apologize. Did you hear me earlier? No. Are you sure? No, I heard you say, oh, I'm sorry. Like,
yeah, I heard everything.
I heard how much you hate me.
But yeah.
Now I'm going to get paid more, so I can just kick you out whenever I want.
What? Please don't do that. JC just needs a moment to go cry and plan his financials.
They're not looking too good, bro. I mean, you're only getting $2 from this podcast, so.
Well, no, we're still in the red.
I don't do shadow people. I've never seen shadow people. And besides the image ingrained of my great-grandfather, I've never seen a full-body apparition.
So I should...
Thank goodness.
Clarify, just for people. What Allie sees are not shadow people in the normal paranormal terminology, which are inhuman spirits. She's seeing human spirits that appear as shadows. Not like how I've seen shadow people or inhuman creatures. That she's seeing shadowy ghosts, essentially. But often and in really weird... Wasn't there like a Walmart experience recently?
Yeah, and that one was kind of in color, and I saw it twice.
Yeah.
And the first time I was like, oh, I'm just because I have like an eye disease. I'm like, I'm blind, whatever. And then the second time I saw it, I was like, that was weird. And like, she was even wearing like jeans and had short blonde hair. And it was like the blonde that's kind of fake. And I don't remember the shirt she had on, but like, I remember thinking like, wow, I'm seeing all of this. That's weird.
Oh, I was going to say about the schizophrenia thing. I can't remember who it was. Somebody on Twitter had asked a question about, do you believe in these paranormal things? And like, if so, why? And a couple people, just right off the bat, were like, well, I've been diagnosed with schizophrenia, and so I want to say that I believe in ghosts because part of me truly believes that I have seen one, but I'm afraid to give in to that because it just might be my schizophrenia and I'm actually just seeing things. So I thought, man, that's really kind of sad. I can't imagine being in that position where you don't know for sure. Like, you could literally legit be seeing a ghost, but you could also
Just be
having a hallucination, and so something to think about. Interesting.
I never say that people with schizophrenia are or are not seeing or hearing or feeling whatever they're feeling, because part of me is like, what if they have something extra that I just don't have? Because they will explain in full detail what these things or people look like and where they are and what they're doing. And like, I never feel them or hear them or see them, but I'm like, maybe that's something extra that I just don't possess. And I think that makes it easier for me to deal with them, if that makes sense. Like,
and empathize with them.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to tell you your voices are a lie, especially when they're those people's friends. Cool, have them join us. We'll play Scrabble. Like,
yeah, right? That's a good way to look at it, though. Yeah, makes you better at your job.
What if they're like tapping into other dimensions? I don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, what if schizophrenia is just that? It's just tapping into other dimensions, but our brains can't quite handle it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a whole other rabbit hole that we could go down.
A very long rabbit hole that I'm ready for a rant for.
Not today, Satan. Not today.
I say today to Satan every day. Today's the day, buddy. Motherfucker still hasn't fist fought me.
Neither has Thor.
Or Odin.
Or
God, or any of those pansy-ass bastards. Every day I wake up. Any of you fuckers want to fight? None of them come down to fight. Because none of them exist.
Maybe you're not worth the fight.
That's what I said. I like her. She's gonna be our third, I'm telling you. Yep. See? It's thinking exactly what I was saying.
Sub.
Hey, can you do an intro for me? Let's see.
I'll punch you right in your face.
Welcome to Mission Spooky.
It's
this
terrible.
is your wonderful host.
You're garbage. You're trash at this. I'm gonna go cry. Do you guys have a rope around here? I just need to hang something up.
He realizes how replaceable he is. It's been solidified.
I'm gonna haunt this place.
You forgot to say that you were beautiful, though.
Mm.
Or magnificent.
And you didn't give her an offhanded, kind of insulting intro.
I didn't finish. I figured that was enough. I could just stop right there. I definitely blew you out of the water, so.
Yeah, that was a pretty good first,
I'm just gonna go cry.
Man, I should have, what's the word I'm looking for?
Auditions.
Well, yeah, there you
Auditions.
go.
Should have had auditions
Fuck
for
off.
this job.
See, you can't have nearly the witty banter that I can.
I thought you said you weren't competitive.
Fuck off.
This is going to be our best episode ever.
Yeah,
guess I
best
have to-
episode ever was when I talked about myself.
That's every episode.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I guess I have to let you have this one thing.
Please, and thank you.
Really cool. Love your stories. They're awesome. Very cool. And you were okay.
She means JC, just to clarify for the listeners.
I'm getting a look of death. I get that look a lot lately. Okay, so I'm definitely going to need the address of this house.
Well, you have that.
Yeah, okay. Well, okay, good. Yeah, then I have your address. I'm going to dig. I find out who your dude is. I mean, it may be like just some guy who lived there and he died there, and then,
I mean,
There's
the
ways
house
to
is
find out.
probably...
It's over 50 years old.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they gave us the thing in the lease that said, like, well, there might be lead paint under the layer of paint that's there now, so...
Have fun with that, kids.
Don't lick the walls.
That's
what it says on the paper. Just make sure you don't lick the walls. The fact that they have to tell you that.
Well, your house was built in 1907.
Ooh, that's old.
Yeah.
113 years.
Sometimes I just imagine it's the dude that owned it before Bernie. Because I think he did most of the rebuilding of things. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he, like, walks that hall... Like, that hallway wasn't fucking there.
No, because my room shouldn't exist.
Yeah, your room is weird. It's just, like, slap dab in the middle of the apartment.
Yeah. We've had this conversation where...
It's a weird layout.
Essentially, the living room should be the master bedroom.
Yep.
My room should probably be part of the master bedroom. Or be its own room, but the door should probably be in the other hallway. Mm-hmm. And then your room should be the living room.
Yep.
So that's where we're going to start, and I'm going to do the research, and we'll see, like, we can go to 1907 and go into Whitehall and just start pulling out dead people.
Oh, God.
I got your address, so... All right, we are going to be taking a break for our musical guest. Once again, Foghorn Lonesome. They're out of Stockholm, Sweden. And this song was Ali's choice, which is off of their self-titled debut album from 2016. And it is called We Are All Alone in the End. When we come back, Spooky Squad news and possibly shout-outs. Thanks for listening today, Spooksters. If you want to join the squad, head on over to Patreon/Mission Spooky. We have tiers at the $1 and $2 levels. One single buck gets you our undying gratitude and a shout out on the cast, and the $2 level officially gets you access to our booper reels. If you have a ghost story that you'd like to share with us, please send it to missionspookypodcast, all one word, @gmail.com.
We're looking for anything, but specifically, we have an upcoming episode on shadow people, and I want to hear your stories of shadow people for this upcoming episode that we can talk about and learn from and examine. Yeah. Send us your shadow people stories, or I swear to God, I will start shooting hostages.
It's getting really serious. Damn. Well, that escalated really quickly. I wasn't even aware we had hostages. Where are they?
I'll obtain them sooner or later.
I'll obtain them.
You know.
Go give me some hostages down at the hostage store.
Yeah, you can get them from the hostage store.
Dude, right? It's like next to Home Depot.
Whoa.
Okay, so feel free to email us any questions or comments on any of the previous episodes. If you are a Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Delaware band and you own your own music and would like to be featured on the podcast, please feel free to contact us through private message on Instagram, Twitter, or you can email us directly at that missionspookypodcast@gmail.com. You can find our musical guest songs on Spotify by, well, actually not typing Mission Spooky 2020 in the search bar as I previously thought, because it was coming up for me. Funny story, not even going to get into it. But what you do is you look up Mission Spooky, look for our profile, which is still our little ghosty with the headphones on. And then that'll take you right to our Mission Spooky playlist. Now, there are some bands that we're featuring that are not on Spotify right now. So that's why I'll be telling you where to go to if you want to listen to their music. But we're going to get as much as we can directly from Spotify to just keep you guys, going with their music and being able to follow them. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Mission Spooky and at our Facebook page that JC rules with
An iron fist.
Don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes. Just remember to be kind. Also rate and review us on Podchaser. So my shout out today goes to another podcast, and they are called I Used to Watch This? ? Really cool guys. And what they do is take some of our favorite television shows from like the 70s and 80s when we were growing up. Some of us were growing up. Sorry, JC, you missed out on a lot of good shit. Or bad shit, depending on how you want to look at it. The last one that I was listening to was Hardcastle and McCormick. If any of you spooksters out there remember that awesome show. Really, really, really want them to do Tales of the Gold Monkey, but we had discussed that. It's such a difficult show to get a hold of because there's all kinds of copyright issues and the studio won't release it. Bring 'Em Back Alive would also be another one. And those are two, man, I could get all up in the shit about these TV shows that were very much like Indiana Jones, that were actually pitched, especially in Tales of the Gold Monkey's case, it was pitched before the movie was officially released, but nobody was interested in it because, and I quote, no one's going to be interested in some stupid adventure that happens in the 1930s. And then look what happened. Indiana Jones. And then all of a sudden they were like, oh, wait, hold on. We want this TV show. Unfortunately, I think it only lasted.
Indiana Jones, that's the one with Shia LaBeouf, right?
I'm going to come over there and smack the shit out of you.
Where they have the crystal skulls.
That's the retarded
best one.
Skull. That is, no, it is not. It is the worst movie ever.
I don't know. Shia LaBeouf was in it, and he's fantastic.
It is worse than Spider-Man 3. Yeah, I went there.
Those are fighting words. But
Worse
also
than
probably true.
But however, was not as bad as Green Lantern. But I love you. You know who you are.
Ryan Reynolds?
He's Deadpool now. Forget it. His name's not even Ryan Reynolds. He's just Deadpool. He's just Wade Wilson. He's always meant to be that, and it shows. Taking us out again is Allie's pick from Foghorn Lonesome, We're All Alone in the End. You can find Foghorn Lonesome on Spotify. Please go show them some love. Thank you once again to Allie for coming out and hanging out with us. You're welcome back anytime. So, hey, spooksters, thanks for listening, and stay spooky and don't die. But if you do, contact us.
Via 90s kidnapper notes where you cut out the letters of all the from different magazines and stuff, and you write it on that, mail it to us, and that's how you contact us from now on. Figure it out.
I don't know which way